Did you get the sense that she'd been taken unawares, that this was someone that perhaps she trusted?
Why go to the extreme of murdering the person unless they can identify him?
In 2004, Joe O'Reilly appeared on television appealing for information about his wife's brutal murder. But he knew exactly what happened to her.
Why, Rachel? Why then? What did she do, in your opinion, to deserve this?
But the truth about her death was darker than anyone could have imagined. In October 2004, Joe O'Reilly left his wife Rachel several messages after she failed to pick up their child from nursery. Rachel's worried mother went to her home to check on her. On arrival, she found Rachel's bloody body in the bedroom. She had been brutally beaten to death with a blunt object.
I remember kneeling down beside Rachel, and she was cold, stone cold, but I knew before I knelt down that she was dead.
On arrival, Joe's behavior was bizarre. Instead of kneeling down and cradling his wife's body, he simply checked that Rachel was dead.
He was maybe not the murderer, I didn't think, but there's something odd here, and this is not right.
Something seemed off with Joe's behavior, but he had a solid alibi. Joe had been seen at work by a colleague at the time of the murder. Police opened an investigation into Rachel's murder, with Joe appearing on numerous television shows and news reports appealing for information.
Did you get the sense that she'd been taken unawares, that this was someone that perhaps she trusted?
Yeah, I think so. Where the murder happened was in the bedroom, which is the very last room of the house. So it's the room where you're least likely to bring someone you don't know.
He gave this clear message to the killer on TV.
I feel I know you because you had to kill her. You couldn't leave her alive to identify you. So it's a matter of time before you're found.
In an effort to increase publicity about the case and encourage witnesses to come forward, Joe resorted to drastic measures.
One of the more bizarre things was that he actually invited the media into the house and showed them where Rachel had been murdered. I mean, it's unheard of.
As the spouse of the victim, Joe was always a key suspect in the investigation. Police became even more suspicious of him when it was discovered that he had lied to them about having an affair with another woman. Nikki Pelly met Joe at a work function in January 2004. Joe had originally told police that the affair was just a fling, but further investigation revealed that he had been meeting up with Nikki several times a week.
He maintained that he had lied to them because he didn't want his family and their friends and Rachel's family to find out about this relationship.
Desperate for more evidence, police decided to exhume Rachel's body. On the day of her burial, Joe had placed a private letter in her grave. Using chemical treatments and infrared technology, police were able to discover the contents of the letter. Joe expressed his grief over several pages, but the section that caught investigators' eyes stated, "This is the hardest letter I've ever had to write, for reasons only we know. Please forgive me. 2 words, 1 sentence, but I will say them forever." Police found the final piece of evidence they needed after mobile phone analysis revealed that Joe was lying about his whereabouts on the day of Rachel's murder. Further CCTV footage placed a vehicle matching the description of his car in the area at the time of her death.
So they went and they tracked every single make and model of this car that was similar, and they interviewed all the owners and asked them where they were, and eliminated all the other make and models of the cars from that area.
Joe was arrested once more, but this time he was charged with murder. In court, both his lover and his co-worker were called to the stand.
Ms. Pelly told the court she and Joe talked about being together permanently in the future.
The extent of Joe and Nikki's affair was discussed extensively, as well as the errors given by his co-worker about the times he and Joe were together. The evidence was now piling up against Joe, but he showed little concern while in court.
Throughout the trial, you could very much read that he thought he was going to walk away.
Further evidence was read out from Joe's phone, showing that he was not only engaged in a serious relationship with Nikki, but that he and Rachel were having serious problems in their marriage. As well as discussing how his marriage was coming to an end, Joe had told his sister that Rachel repulsed him. The exchange was the final straw for many in court.
The jury brought in a unanimous verdict after 9.5 hours of deliberating. The courtroom erupted into loud cheers and applause.
Joe was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison.
We'd love to thank everybody, the police in particular. They have been so brilliant.
As of 2024, Joe O'Reilly has served 17 years in prison for Rachel's murder. His parole has been rejected 4 times, but he could theoretically be out of jail within the next few years. Don't forget to subscribe.